7:36.
Yes, sir.
And we want to welcome. Hey, I'm on coffee number 2.
I'm good. I'm good.
You're good. All right. Leon Alexander's here. He's at mic number 3. Howdy,
Well,
Leon.
Good morning, guys. Glad to be here.
Good to have you. Had a good time last Saturday. We need to.
You were there, yeah.
Yes, I was.
We had the Marion County Ronald Reagan dinner was last week. We really want to thank Tony Todaro, who's our president of our committee over the Republican committee over there. Did such a good job. Kelly Link, as always, as master of ceremonies, just a great job.
He needs to learn to loosen up a little bit. Have some fun. Yeah.
You know, what do you say to a guy that shows up in tux in Marion County?
There you go. See, I mean, really, here's Marion County. We had a sitting United States Senator, John Bozeman. We had our Congressman, Steve Womack. The Lieutenant Governor, Tim Griffin, came and spoke. Our State Senator, Scott Flippo. Our State Representative, Kelly Link. I mean, little Marion County. And the venue there, we used the fairgrounds there. That's all been redone.
Very nice.
What did you think?
I think you guys knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I thought
I really did.
Arena did such a good job with the food and everything. The Sky Meadow Fine Arts Youth String Orchestra was phenomenal.
Classic.
Beautiful.
Very, very classic.
I mean, and Tim Griffin, who's been to a lot of places and seen a lot of things, and said, "Wow, we don't get this." You know, I mean, all the guys that are on the rubber chicken circuit, as it's called. You know, for them to say that, and for Steve Womack to single those kids out, I mean, that was really, really big. We really were happy with the way it went.
And this Saturday on Straight from the Horse's Mouth at 4:30, you'll get to hear Womack, Bozeman, and Lieutenant Governor. And I got as much as I could fit in 30 minutes, the Sky Meadow Fine Arts Youth String Orchestra.
Yeah, great.
Fine group of young people.
And what time is that?
Very nice.
4:30 Saturday.
4:30 Saturday. Okay.
And it'll be
on demand?
Audio on demand. Yeah.
Okay.
Leon, friends
Yes,
of
sir.
Norfolk National Fish Hatchery. Big meeting coming up next week. We need to be there.
We really do. We really do. We have just our friends group. We have one annual meeting a year. Of course, we have a number of events, during the year, but we only have one general meeting. And the whole purpose basically is to have elections and just to inform our members, get our members together and inform them of the things that we have done and the projects that are going on and our events that are coming up. And of course, we're still trying to fight this legislation on the funding and everything. And Congressman Rick Crawford, our congressman, has been working on this since day one. I mean, he is our savior. He literally saved the hatcheries.
Yeah.
When the U.S. Fish and Wildlife said, "We are closing you."
Yeah. And he was a new guy then. He was just getting his feet wet as a congressman, and he stepped right into
and
that.
he's been working on legislation all this time. And we're very, very fortunate. He is going to be our speaker. So, it's open to the public. We'd like to have as many of our members there as possible. But it's also open to the public. It's going to be at El Chico Restaurant, which is really great. As a matter of fact, the way that I understand it, we're kind of setting up about 75 people. Well, they have the meeting room, over to that one side, but they're going to allow us to use the restaurant, the full restaurant.
Oh, really?
They're going to put the customers over there.
Oh.
So it should be plenty of room. The food should be good. It's going to start at 6 o'clock, social hour 6 o'clock, dinner at 6:30. We've got 3 meals selected that they're going to prepare. One of them is a sirloin steak. The other is a mushroom chicken. And for us Catholics, grilled shrimp, which Bob and I we're on that list, and we have a Baptist over here that Dale's.
Shrimp does sound good. The fish is kind of non-denominational, especially shrimp.
Sounds pretty good, but we worked it out, and the cost for that is going to be $15, per person, and that includes the sales tax and the tip. So that should be great.
That's good.
But it's going to be a first come, first served basis. You do not have to buy a meal in order to come. The business meeting starts at 7.
I want to talk about the importance of the fish hatchery, not only in Norfolk, but also in Heber Springs. That's the two that I think the congressman be focusing on. But we had, I forget who was in here earlier in the week when we got to talking. Am I mistaken or correct on here? You have nearly 250,000 visitors a year.
That's correct. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, the revenue in taxes that comes into the counties because of the fish hatcheries, can you nail that down?
Yes, I can. Let me just throw a couple of numbers at you here, and we have to start off with how much does it cost to operate the hatchery.
Sure.
that cost is about $950,000 a year.
Basically $1 million.
Yeah, basically $1 million. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife did an economic impact, and the latest one is 2013. They have not done one recently, but that impact just for Norfolk was $90 million.
Yeah.
So you take $900,000 and $90 million. That's $100 for every dollar that is spent. You get $100 back in return.
What a concept! A federal program that makes money.
And that's the one they want to close. That's the one they close.
That's why they want to close it. Yeah, right. Oh, we can't have this.
Yeah,
We
government.
haven't destroyed this one yet, have we?
Yeah, government intelligence here. But I can break it down a little further here too. In hard dollars in sales tax, and I'm talking about just Norfolk. Norfolk produces a little over $5 million in taxes. About 2.5 of them go to the federal government in federal taxes, and about 2 of them are state and local taxes. So, I mean, that's still a tremendous number.
So I want to make sure that we understand this. The investment, this is like saying if I went down to Gail Clark and gave her $1, I get $100 back. Am I understanding?
In economic impact. Now, you want to hear another surprise, something we just heard? And I believe this came from the Arkansas Game and Fish, and they went back and looked at the economic impact of fishing, trout fishing, and so forth.
Sure.
That came out to something over $150 million. So their numbers are even greater than the U.S. Fish and Wildlife numbers. So the numbers,
So why would the
are
government
real.
wanna
So
close
even
something
say
down
that they
that's-
fluff them by 50%. There's a fudge factor of 50%. That's still a huge amount. That's
It
beyond
is.
huge.
It is huge.
Why would they want to close something that's so successful? They're bringing that kind of
yeah.
revenue to the state and local levels.
Yeah, nobody else is listening, right? I can tell you this.
Yeah, you can. It's just us.
It's just us
It's
talking.
just us guys.
Well, to be honest, the situation with the hatcheries varies in accordance with who is at the wheel, who's in charge, the director. And several years back, when all this started, we had a new director. His name is Dan Ash, and he's up in Washington and political appointee. Well, his background is endangered species, and that's the flag that he flies under. He says that Congress, when you listen to him, and I've listened to him in several meetings and one-on-one, and basically what he says is, I'm under mandate by the Congress of these United States to enact all this endangered species and to preserve them, and I need money to do that. So what do? Well, I don't like fisheries. I don't like hatcheries. We don't need to be in the hatchery business, so I'm just going to close them down. And that's the way it started. And he had a prime target in us, that is mitigation hatcheries being different than regular production hatcheries, because the mitigation hatcheries come as a result of a water project like a dam.
Yeah.
And so you put the dam in, and then you lose that warm water species, so you have to mitigate that loss by putting in a cold water species and a hatchery to go with it. So basically what he's saying is not our fault. We're paying for somebody else's mistake, therefore we are going to defund it. And that's exactly what happened back about 4 years ago. He literally took it out of the budget. Mm-hmm. And if it hadn't been for Congress, led by Rick Crawford, that is exactly what would have happened. But he was able to get the wording back in. He was able to bring the pressure to bear and kept it going. And then
now we need permanent funding. We need to lock this
Well,
thing
yeah, 'cause
down.
you guys go through this every year.
Because this is an annual axe that's over our necks every year. I mean, it just happens. So he did the impossible. He actually got the Corps of Engineers, which is our power provider, and he got them to agree that they would actually fund the mitigation hatcheries. And it started off as a smaller amount, and it's worked up now to about 90% of full funding on the mitigation hatcheries within their purview, and same way with TVA and so forth. So this is the reason we're still open. The reason we're still open. But now here's the other part of it. The other part of it is that he introduced a bill that was a mitigation bill that would provide that this is going to continue. Well, the first one didn't go very far. And then he tried in 2013, he introduced this new bill, the National Fisheries Mitigation Partnership Act or Coordination Act. And it was in committee for 2 years, and it never came to a vote. Now, why? Well, did anything come to a vote in the last 2 years? I mean, just nothing really happened. So what happens when you have an election? Everything that, or new Congress, basically all those bills that did not come to a vote go away. So now we have no bill, we have nothing. So about a month ago, I went to D.C. Yes, sir.
1 minute.
Okay, I went to D.C. and visited with Rick and all the other, actually all 4 of our congressional representatives, and he is in the process of trying to reintroduce this bill this time and trying again to get more co-sponsors.
There you go.
Take a quick break. That way we can get more in with Leon Alexander right after this. 7:51. Getting back with our discussion with Leon Alexander.
We're talking about people supporting this group, and one of the ways that they can support it is the Sow-Bug Roundup is going on at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
And you've got a booth there.
We do have a booth.
So if people have questions, they can come and see you.
We do, and I will be there for most of the day. And the one thing that we really need is we need memberships. We need, and that's the way. If you want to support it and be sure that this hatchery continues, the best way to do it is to be a member of our friends group. That gives us a louder voice. It also gives us the fund in order to be able to do the things that we do.
And you don't have to be a fisherman to be involved in this, because it affects the quality of life for the whole area.
It affects everyone.
Right. So that's why you got to look at it. You can't just, well, I'm a bass fisherman. I don't care about this, or I don't fish at all. It's important to the whole area, and it's an economic driver for the whole area. And come on out, join the group if you want. If nothing else, come on by and thank the congressman for his work in this. Come to the meeting, see Congressman Crawford and say, hey, look, thank you. Now, it's very important for them to know that we, as a people, care.
I want to make sure everyone understands. Congressman Crawford's not at Sow-Bug. He'll be at our general meeting next Friday, April the 3rd, and that's at El Chico.
Yeah.
And you wanted to talk about a quilt?
I did. We had one of our members' wife is an expert quilter, and she has made a full-size trout quilt. And I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. It's got a trout all over it. It's got these big fly patterns. They're all in the proper color. She has out